What's going on, guys? And welcome back to the Get Back. My name is Daniel, and this is our weekly hockey recap show. We talk about all things hockey all the time. Weren't here last week, a little bit sick, a little bit under the weather, feeling better now. Let's talk some hockey. The Olympics are going on right now, so that's fun and exciting. We'll get to that. First, to catch up on some news that we missed last week and a game that we missed last week that we were going to talk about, so let's talk about it now. Start off with the big trade that kind of happened. Artemi Panarin gets traded from the Rangers to the LA Kings. The Rangers get a third round pick that could become a second, and Liam Greentree. And the Kings are taking on Artemi Panarin his whole contract and are signing him to a 2-year, $11 million extension. So first off, for the Kings, great trade. Panarin's a great player. He's one of the all-time, you know, great wingers in the NHL. He's an elite scorer, goals, assists. He contributes in every aspect. This brings a big boost to their lineup that I feel like they needed. Um, they're kind of in the cusp of a playoff push. They're on a little bit of the outside looking in the wild card realm, but that West is still very tight, very close, and they're kind of a runner away. This kind of gives them that edge and that elite scorer that I think they were looking for. So overall, great trade for the Kings. They don't give up too much in terms of value. I feel like Panarin's on an expiring deal, but they were able to re-sign him and get him under contract for the next 2 years. And overall, I think it helps their lineup. I think Panarin on any team helps their lineup. Obviously, he's a great player. Um, Still rounding out, coming into form. So I think Panarin on a really positive team will only get better. His numbers will increase, and he will continue to really pair well with what the Kings have right now. So I think it's a really good trade for the Kings. They add some to their lineup, and in that West, getting that big goal scorer kind of puts the team over the top sometimes. So I think it's a good trade by the Kings. For the Rangers, look, this move was going to happen. I think as a Ranger fan myself, I think it sucks, obviously, from a Rangers fan's point of view, what the season has gone, and losing a player like Panarin is not easy. It's kind of weird how everything went down. It seemed like Panarin wanted to go to a team that wasn't going to give him an extension. Everyone kind of thought he wanted a lot more money than what he actually got, which is kind of weird. Speak from the Rangers saying they wanted to negotiate a deal and that the price wasn't there. And if this was really how much he wanted, why weren't the Rangers in on it, kind of thing. So it's puzzling. The year for the Rangers has been puzzling, but they get a third round pick from this. That could be a second. I think that's a value. I think I personally would have wanted more, but they're getting a really good prospect in Greentree. He's having a great year in the minors and the juniors. He's scoring. He's physical. He's got speed. So it's another potential pick for the Rangers, and they have a lot of young players that have a lot of potential that hasn't really panned out yet. Gabe Perreault, Alexis Lafreniere, uh, previously Capo Caco, Philip Hedel, Elias Anderson. Like they've had these players come through before, and so far, not a lot of them have panned out the way we've been expecting. So is it going to be another one that doesn't pan out, or this is going to be the one that finally hits? So we'll see. I think there's a lot of hype around Greentree. I think he's having a really good year. We'll see if he comes into play towards the end of the year. I think that'll be something to look forward to. And overall, from all we've been hearing, he has the tools, he has the potential, he has the ability to be a top NHL player. Can that translate to the NHL though? So we will see. Still young, and I think the Rangers kind of got what they viewed as what was the best possible return. Panarin really only wanted to go to the Kings, and the Kings kind of, I guess, negotiated that, how they negotiated that, and this was the best the Rangers could get. So they got something for Panarin. They didn't let him walk to the end of the year. They were to get some value from it, and we'll see what comes from it. So overall, I think it's a decent trade for both teams. I think the Kings obviously come out on the better end right now, but down the line, we'll see what the Rangers can do with this pick and this player. So it's an interesting situation. But moving on, there's a game I want to talk about that we didn't talk about last week that I really wanted to talk about, and that is a stadium series between the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning that happened on February 1st. This was one of the best games, one of the best stadium series you're going to watch. In Lucas Raymond Stadium, where Tampa Bay Bucks play, it was pirate themed. That was fun. That was cool. I think the aesthetic of it was pretty cool. But I think actually the game itself is where you see a lot of great stuff happening. Brendan Hale gets things started early on with a goal in the first 11 seconds, and then Boston will go on to score 5 goals in a row. Uh, towards the end of the first into the second. Morgan Geekie had two of them. Victor Arvidsson had one. Alex Stevens had the first goal for the Bruins. And like this is kind of like what was going to be expected. Boston has a lot of forward potential, a lot of goal scoring potential. They're a fast team. You saw them on display. They're physical as well, and they got off to an early start. But this, again, I've been saying it all year. There's something about this Tampa Bay Lightning team that I really like. They know how to win games. John Cooper's a really great coach, and you just kind of felt like once they have momentum, it's hard to stop them. And this Boston defense is kind of lackluster. It's good, but they're not structured enough. I feel like to really withstand a team like Tampa Bay. And Boston's a really good team. They're a really good team. I'm not saying that they're not, but I feel like they're kind of missing that defensive pairing, that shutdown defensive pairing to stop teams when they have momentum. And Jeremy Swayman's a good goaltender. He's not one of the better ones in the NHL, and I feel like he has gaps and he has holes, and he's beatable, right? And Tampa Bay goes on to score, 4 goals in a row. Bjorkstrand, Radish, Nick Paul, and Nikita Kucherov, who had 5 goals in this game. I'm sorry, had 4 points in this game. He was all over the place. He had 3 assists and a goal. He was contributing everywhere. He is one of the best players in the NHL for that reason when he's healthy, and he's proving that here again. And again, Vasilevsky didn't have his best game. He didn't. But when push came to shove, he stopped after the 5th goal, he shut everything down for Boston. And I think you could kind of see that Tampa Bay is able to kind of rely on that, and they're able to kind of play their own game, and they're able to kind of work their way back into a game, grab momentum, hold on to it, and able to find the goals when they need it. They're a veteran team with some good young players that know how to win, and John Cooper knows how to coach that out of them. This is a really underrated Tampa Bay Lightning team. It has a lot of star potential, has a lot of star power, has a lot of really good structure defensively, and you have one of the best goaltenders behind the six in Vasilevsky. So I think you have one of the more complete teams in the NHL in Tampa Bay. And Boston was close. Boston really did put up a good showing. The game goes into overtime. Doesn't happen in overtime. Jake Gensel was able to get the one overtime goal, or the one goal in the shootout. Pastrnak hit the post on the last one, and Tampa was able to win the game 6-5 in a shootout. Phenomenal game. Had everything you could ever want in a hockey game in general. Plus it was outside. Plus it was beautiful. Plus the weather held up. Plus it was fun to watch, and it really showcased what the NHL can be as a sport. You had fights. You had a goalie fight, which was epic. You had hits, hard hit. You had competitive play. You had both teams really trying to fight for just 2 points. You had an awesome comeback. It was a great stadium series overall, and I think it really showcased what the NHL can be on a global scale. And on one of their big days, one of their big showcase games, they showed out a lot here. I think it was a lot better than the Winter Classic, a lot better than previous stadium series in the past. This was a really fun one, a really exciting one, really showcased the NHL overall. So now we're going to move on, because after this game, the NHL kind of went into a little bit of a slowdown period. They went into their winter break now. This is their Olympic break. It's the first time in a while we've had the Olympics, featured NHL players and NHL talent. So this is kind of a big moment. It's 2026 Olympics. They're in Milan and Cortina. Beautiful. The stadium got built. It got done. They were able to build a stadium, and so far the ice is holding up. Everyone doesn't have any complaints about it so far. Even though it was a rush job, they got it done. So the ice is the ice. But the on-the-ice product is what we're here for, and let me tell you, there's some really great hockey going on over there. Starting out with the USA women's team, just an utter buzzsaw. This team is an absolute juggernaut right now. They breeze through their group games, which include a 5-0 thumping of Canada. And I get it, Canada have their best player. Didn't have their best player. Didn't have their captain, I understand that. But this American team, and what they have brought to the Olympics this year, is unlike anything I've ever seen personally. This might be the best women's hockey team put on paper and put out onto a product on the ice. This USA team has scoring, it has veteran leadership, it has one of the best defensive core I've ever seen, and the goaltending has been basically impenetrable. They've been a wall. They're led by Hillary Knight, their captain, one of the all-time great American forwards for the women's team. Megan Keller has been outstanding. Tessa Jenick has been really good. Joy Dune has been good. Alex Carpenter has been her usual great self. And you have really good young talent. Roy Goday, Caroline Harvey, you know, Haley Wynn, Kristen Sims. Like these are really Layla Edwards who got her first goal. This team, in and of itself, is a complete team, the most complete team in the Olympics. And I'm not saying that the competition isn't up there because Italy put up a good fight. The Canadians are also a really competitive team. The Swedish team is also really good. But this USA team they're just so far they're a mile above everybody, and they're proving it. They're making sure that when they're not only winning games, they're dominating teams. 5-0, 5-1, 4-0. They have right now, I think, what is it, like a 500-minute shutout streak. They just dumped Italy in the quarterfinals 6-0, which Italy had 6 shots on goal. And I get it, Italy's on a powerhouse hockey nation, but to do that on Italy's home ice and completely embarrass them, take care of business and just call it a day, move on to the semifinals, was phenomenal in and of itself. So just a great performance from this United States women's team. And shout out to Arena Franklin. She's been amazing. Gwen Phillips has been amazing. Ava McNaughton is probably really good as well. Like, these women are just on top of their game right now. They are really have their sights set on gold. They're probably all the odds-on favorite, and I think they probably will get the job done. They play Canada again in the finals. And that Canadian team is also, again, really good. It's a very solid team. But just this United States team, there's something about them that they're not letting up. They don't have any weaknesses that they're showing. Defensively, they're not giving teams anything. And offensively, they're scoring a lot of goals. They're getting contributions all throughout their lineup. It's not coming from one line. It's multiple lines, multiple young players who are not scared of this moment right now. And they're just playing at an absolute high level compared to everybody else right now. So I think, all things considered, this has been a fantastic start to the Olympics for USA Hockey, and for the women especially. We'll see what happens in the semifinal game on Monday, whether that'll be against, I think, Sweden or Finland. But so far, it's been an absolutely great start for the USA women's on USA Hockey on the women's side so far. And moving over to the men's, who kind of got a later start. Great start for them as well. This team is really good. It has a lot of great players. They started out with a 4-0 win over Latvia. And shout out to a 4-1 win over Latvia. Latvia has a really decent squad. They were really, really good defensively. They made it tough for the Americans. But I think what we're seeing from a lot of teams in this tournament, especially the teams that aren't really viewed as powerhouse hockey nations like Italy, like Denmark, teams like, even Finland to a degree. What I saw from Latvia, they're not willing to kind of make it easy for teams. They're making it difficult. They're willing to skate. They're willing to they seem to have a good defensive structure. And if you are not up to that level, if you are not up to really show, if you play down to this level, they could hurt you. And they could very easily, sneakily, maybe take a game here and there. The Italian team on the opening day against Sweden, they were up. They had scored the first goal. Sweden came back, and they were tied 2-2 before Sweden went on to the third and took care of business. But that Italian team showed a lot of fight and a lot of guts. If you're not showing that same fight and that same desire, these smaller teams are going to kind of take advantage of that, and they're going to prove it. I think there's no gimme game here. I think that's what I'm trying to say. There's no gimme game in the Olympics right now. Every team's playing at a high level, a high standard. And I think if you even dip a little bit, these powerhouse teams like Sweden, Finland, which we'll get to that in a minute, Canada and US might get a slip up here and there if they're not careful. So, but the USA took care of business yesterday against Latvia, winning 5-1. Chachuk was great. I thought the line of Brock Nelson, JT Miller versus Trocheck was great. Brock Nelson had probably player of the game in my opinion. Could have had a hat trick. Could have had 4 goals really. In that game, Tage Thompson showing off had a great power play goal. And then Austin Matthews at the end with a power play goal, captain of the team. So, all things considered, is a great start for Mike Sullivan and his group. It's They play a tougher test in Germany next. That's going to be kind of a we'll see where we're at, or Denmark next. Denmark had a really good game against Germany today. Didn't win, but outplayed Germany. Made it hard on Leon Draisaitl and Tim Schutzler. So that's going to be a really tough test for them. And then obviously the end with Germany, which is going to be probably the biggest test that they're going to face in the group stage. But overall, I think it was a phenomenal start from the Americans. We'll see what happens against Denmark. They have to kind of continue this pace and show that they are here to win and here to dominate. Because Canada ain't looking that bad either. Canada also off their great start. They're 2-0. They beat Czechia 5-0, and then they went on to dominate Switzerland today 5-1. I mean, McDavid showing out. Crosby is showing out. You're getting contributions from Macklin Celebrini, who scored in his first Olympics, got a second goal today. McKinnon has 2 goals already. Like, this Canadian team is doing what they do. They're shutting teams down defensively. Their goaltending is really good. Jordan Bennington looked great in the opening day. I think it was a great performance defensively from them again today. It was overall like this Canadian team is doing what they do, right? This is what was going to be expected. It's a powerhouse team. They're star power everywhere. Their stars are showing out. They came to play. It looks like the top teams are taking this as seriously as if it was an NHL final. Even though it is the group stage, and even though they're kind of facing teams that are not as strong as they are, they're not letting that be a kind of detriment. They're going out, doing their job, taking care of business, and making sure that they get the win regardless, and that they completely shut teams down. So, great start by the Canadians. Obviously, they're going to have tougher games coming up. I believe their next game is going to be against Italy. Sorry, France. So, again, it's a game you have to win, obviously. But, how big is that margin going to be? How big should it be? And I think 5-1, 5-0 is a great start. That's what you want to see from teams like Canada right now in this stage of the tournament. And we'll go from there when we get to the quarterfinals. We'll kind of cross that bridge, see where teams are at when we get there. But I do want to talk about real quick Sweden. A really shaky start against Italy in day one, and then they lose 4-1 to Finland today. Not a great showing by Finland so far. I mean, it's a really good team. It's not their strongest team they've ever fielded at the Olympics, but still really good. And it feels really weird from them right now. Their skating is a bit off. Their intensity isn't there. And this Finnish team came out angry, came out frustrated, and put the absolute beating on them today. They outplayed the Swedes. They outplayed every aspect of them. Mikko Rantanen and Joel Marta had 2 power play goals, but Nicholas Mapapano, Anton Lindell, defensively they just didn't get anything going. Jonas Korpisalo was really solid today for Finland as well, and just everything considered, they weren't able to outplay the Finns, and the Finns are kind of getting better. They're kind of, at that level of Sweden. They're at that level where they can compete with teams like Canada and the U.S., and they kind of underestimated this Finnish team, I feel like. And Sweden it's not a great look for them as a nation. They play Slovakia on Saturday. That has to be a must-win. I mean, that they have to come out angry, come out upset, and absolutely lay the beating on Slovakia. I'm sorry. That, what happened against Finland cannot happen again. It just can't. And for a team of that expectation and that star power and that quality, to lose 4-1 to, again, a really great Finnish team, but to show no fight and no bite in the Olympics, that's not a great look. So I don't expect that to happen again from them. I don't expect that to kind of be what's going to be going forward. I think they will come out strong and they will kind of regain what they are as a hockey nation. But overall, I think these Olympics they've been fun. The women have done a great job. Their tournament has been really fun to watch. Watching USA dominate has been really a remarkable thing to see compared to the last couple of years. And again, that Canada team's really good. They seem like that's going to be the collision course into the final in the gold medal game. I don't expect the USA, team to kind of slip up. I don't expect Canada to slip up in their quarterfinal and semifinal games. I think it's going to be USA Canada in the final. I think on the men's side, I think it's going to be the same thing. I think they're going to breathe through the group stages. They're going to get to the quarterfinal. They're going to play. Their big tests are going to be Sweden and Finland and Germany. And whoever the matchup is going to be, we'll find out. But I think until we get to that point, the semifinal and the final are going to be, the big games for these teams, as they usually are. I don't see any big slip ups happening from Canada to US. I don't see anything kind of sneaky. If there is a sneaky team, I would say Germany. I would say, Finland could kind of create some upsets here and there. Finland's done it in the past. Sweden's done it in the past. I think very easily, like, there is a big possibility for a slip up from either one of those teams. So, or a surprise from either one of those teams. But I don't see Canada or US really kind of allowing that to happen right now. They're both really good. I think it's going to be a fun tournament the rest of the way for the next week and a half. And yeah, I think it's really fun to see hockey back in the Olympics. It's really fun that the NHL took their break. When we get out of the Olympics, we're going to get right back into full force, full form. Teams are going to be flying all over the place. Going to be a lot of games very quickly, so exciting things happening down the pipeline. But for now, let's enjoy the Olympics. Let's enjoy the fact that we're here, that we're there, that they're in Milan, great. The stadium's built, great, and we have great hockey going on with amazing talent all over the place. So, shout out to the NHL, shout out to the Olympics, shout out to the teams, and hopefully USA will take home the gold because USA all the way. Free bird. So overall, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to talk about. Follow us on social media at Instagram and TikTok at the Get Back Sports. Make sure you check out all the other videos coming up. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up down the pipeline. Make sure you tune in next week for the next week's hockey video, which is going to be even better. I promise you that. This is going to be it for me. I've been Daniel. This is the Get Back. This is the weekly hockey recap show. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.